Ready for a deep dive into Chimamanda and Ngozi Adichie. And this time, we're going on a bit of a treasure hunt, piecing together a portrait of her style and themes from excerpts of Purple Hibiscus and her essay, Tiny Wonders.
Sounds intriguing. It's amazing how much we can uncover from these smaller pieces, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's like walking into a room and noticing a chipped vase or a faded photograph, those tiny details that tell a story.
Exactly. And speaking of details in Purple Hibiscus, Adichie doesn't waste any time pulling us into a world of unspoken tensions.
Right from the start, we're confronted with this striking image in the chapter titled Breaking Gods. Just the title alone is kind of ominous, wouldn't you say?
Definitely sets the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see them shattered figurines.
Mhm.
Adichie doesn't just tell us there's trouble in this family, she shows us. It's visceral.
Yeah, you can almost feel the weight of those broken pieces. And we see it all through Kambili's eyes, this young girl who's our guide through this complex family dynamic. Even her silences are so telling.
She's acutely aware of the power dynamics at play, especially between her parents. Her father, Papa, a devout Catholic, looms large over the family.
Yeah, and he seems to carry this weight of the world on his shoulders, referring to himself during prayer as the shield of the Nigerian people.
That really struck me. It speaks volumes about his worldview, don't you think? The impact of colonialism, the way it shaped perceptions of self and society.
It's almost as if he's internalized that colonial legacy and now sees himself as this protector, this bastion of faith.
Precisely. And it's within this context that we meet Jaja, Kambili's brother. And he does something quite unexpected. He refuses to take communion.
It's a small act, but so powerful, especially in a household where obedience seems paramount. What do you make of that?
It's a subtle rebellion, a crack in the veneer of compliance. You can sense his inner turmoil as he begins to question his father's rigid beliefs.
And it's fascinating how Adichie uses these everyday details, the food they eat, the prayers they recite, even the silences between them, to reveal so much.
It's like she's holding a magnifying glass up to their lives, showing us the complexities of Nigerian society in a way that's both intimate and universal.
And then we're transported, right, out of this pressure cooker of a home and into the vibrant world of Aokbi. Remember, this is the place where people are flocking to witness what they believe are apparitions of the Virgin Mary.
It's this incredible convergence of faith and spectacle,
Mhm.
and right in the middle of it, we see Jaja grappling with his doubts. He even questions the authenticity of the apparitions out loud.
Which takes some serious guts considering his father's unwavering devotion. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement, don't you think?
Absolutely, and this exploration of faith takes another turn when they encounter the Imo. These traditional masquerades, they're like a direct line to Nigeria's pre-colonial past.
Yeah, talk about a contrast. On one hand, you have the structured Catholicism of Papa's world, and then on the other, these vibrant, almost otherworldly figures embodying something ancient and primal.
It's a fascinating juxtaposition, and it's interesting how Auntie Efioma, Papa's sister, navigates this space. Remember how she tells Kambili and Jaja not to look directly at the Mu?
It's like she's acknowledging their power, their cultural significance, but also respecting her brother's differing beliefs. Kind of like walking a tightrope, isn't it?
Exactly. And it makes you think about how people negotiate these different belief systems, these different ways of seeing the world. And then there's that shift when they go to Auntie Efioma's home in Suka.
And Suka feels like a different universe, doesn't it? There's laughter, music, open conversation. Faith is still very present, but it's experienced in a more relaxed, almost joyful way.
It's like the pressure valve has been released.
Yeah.
And it's in this new environment that we really see Kambili's voice starting to emerge.
It's subtle, but you can sense a shift in her, a newfound confidence, maybe.
Her visit to Papa Nuku, her grandfather, adds another layer to this exploration of faith and tradition. He represents a belief system that predates colonialism, that's deeply rooted in the land.
So she's encountering all these different perspectives, her father's strict Catholicism, the traditional beliefs embodied by the Muo, her grandfather's connection to indigenous spirituality.
It's a lot to process,
Mm-hmm.
and it raises questions about how these encounters, these different ways of seeing the world, will ultimately shape Kambili's own understanding of herself and her place in it.
It's like we've been on this journey with Kambili, watching her world expand as she navigates these different ways of seeing, wouldn't you say? And now, with Tiny Wonders, I feel like we're embarking on a different kind of journey altogether, one that's more about introspection, about finding meaning in unexpected places.
Absolutely, and it highlights Adichie's incredible ability to capture those small, seemingly insignificant details that resonate with such depth and meaning.
Right. It's like she's saying, look closer, pay attention. So in this essay, Adichie returns to Nasuka, but it's not quite the same. Time has passed, things have changed, and there's this sense of both familiarity and loss that permeates everything.
Exactly. And it's amidst this feeling of change that she's drawn to these tiny wonders, as she calls them. A faded signboard, a palm tree that seems smaller than she remembers, a dusty blackboard with a child's handwriting. What do you make of these details? What do they evoke for you?
I don't know about you, but those faded signboards, they really get to me, like ghosts of businesses past, whispers of dreams and aspirations. It makes you wonder about the stories they hold, the lives that unfolded beneath them.
And that palm tree, a symbol of resilience perhaps, standing there year after year, yet even it seems to have shrunk in the face of time. It's a subtle reminder of the constant forces of change that shape our world.
And it makes you realize that even in a place that holds so many memories, nothing stays the same,
Yeah.
right? And then there's that dusty blackboard, such a simple image, yet it evokes this sense of childhood, of innocence, of time slipping away. It's incredible how Adichie can do that with just a few words.
It's her magic, isn't it? The way she takes these everyday objects and transforms them into these vessels of memory, of meaning, of the human experience. Remember when we were talking about those broken figurines in purple hibiscus? These tiny wonders have that same kind of power. Small, but incredibly potent.
They're like these little cracks that allow us to glimpse into something much larger, wouldn't you say? And in a way, I think that's what makes Adichie's writing so captivating. She invites us to slow down, to look closer, to find the extraordinary within the ordinary.
She reminds us that the world is full of these tiny wonders if we just open ourselves up to seeing them. And I think that's a beautiful thought to carry with us, don't you?
Absolutely. It's been quite a journey exploring these two pieces, hasn't it?
It really has. From the intense family drama of purple hibiscus to the quiet reflections of tiny wonders, we've covered a lot of ground. But one thing remains: constant Adichie's ability to captivate us with her words, to make us think, to make us feel, to make us see the world with fresh eyes. And that's a gift, really. So until next time, keep seeking those tiny wonders in your own lives. You never know what you might discover.